Alright, so update 6.5 for Anime Vanguards came out a little under 2 days at the time that I'm recording this video, and as is tradition on the channel, we will be doing our update review, going over the good, the bad, and everything in between. And before we start it off, I will definitely say I would label this update a success. Like, just from raw player count, numerically, this is already a lot more successful than update 6 was, so not a whole lot of bad to talk about. Definitely think we're gonna keep most of this video on a positive note. And with all that being said, let's go on to the good. Definitely a good amount of things to talk about in this video, most of which are positive, and the first thing that I want to start it off with is the character lineup. I absolutely love the characters that we got in this update because I actually know them, bro. Yes! Give me my mainstream characters. This is what I'm talking about. In this update, we received a batch of 7 new units. The first one is Kaguro, or Kaguya, which is pretty sure she's the main antagonist from Naruto. Rudius, well, you know, he's cool. I might not like his character in the anime, but in game he's definitely cool. We have Arc, and I think she's Neko Arc. We have Merlin from Seven Deadly Sins. We have that one girl from Fire Force, and we also have Rimuru and Conqueror. I guess you could call him Conquest. The full name is Conquest versus Invulnerable, but it's the Invincible unit. And that is super duper goated. If you're noticing, the characters that I'm naming are from some pretty popular mainstream media. I guess you don't really have to call Invincible an anime, but it's definitely my favorite unit out of everything that was added in this update. And, you know, the reason that they're doing this, obviously, they really need to pull out all the stops for the mainstream units after what happened at Update 6, and boy am I glad they did. I absolutely love this lineup of units, and not much bad for me to say in terms of what they added, so let's keep going. We also got a new spring event, and I use the term new kind of loosely here because it is very, very similar to the winter portal event that we got prior. I believe it was in Update 3.5. And if you played the winter event, you know exactly how this goes. There's portals, there's up to 10 tiers of portals, and then there's a secret 11th one, which is the secret portal in which you get the secret unit. There's new skins. If you equip the skins inside of the portal, you get a buff to your rewards. Literally the exact same process as the winter event, except it's with a new batch of units. And obviously new currencies, but basically the same. If you play the winter event, you played this. I'm not really going to complain about this too much because it is new content, and it gives people something to do while they're waiting for Update 7. So I won't comment too much on that for now, and let's keep it going. The next two things I'm going to talk about, I am extremely happy to be going over, and these are some fat quality of life changes. The first one is the new selection banner, which allows you to choose the mythic banner that shows up in the middle of the banner every 24 hours. It is its own separate banner. It's like separate from the normal ones. That is so fucking goated, bro. Gone are the days where you go to sleep and your heart is pounding because you missed the singular unit that you've been looking for, and then when you wake up and you check the little banner logs, you see that the unit did show up while you weren't able to play. Oh my god, that sucks. But yeah, this curbs the RNG tremendously. It allows people to grind for whatever shiny unit they want specifically. Makes it a lot easier to grind for Ascensions too, because now you can just choose the unit that's in the middle. That is absolute 10 out of 10 addition for me, no complaints. Another thing that I think is good, not as good as the first change, but it's definitely good, is the fact that there's now a drop pity for certain secrets. For example, I'm going to show the picture that they put in the update log. If you do Ruin City and you don't get Sid in 150 runs, you will hit his pity and be guaranteed to get him. Now, 150 runs is kind of crazy. I'm going to be honest. I don't even think I've done 50 runs of that raid in total, but that's just me. I definitely don't think I have the willpower to sit there for 150 runs of getting straight nothing just to get the Sid unit. Although I know he's good, but Jesus, 150 for pity? I'm glad there is a pity. Right, I'm not going to be angry at the fact that they made it 150. I just know that I'm not going to be doing all that. Still, it's a good addition. The fact that there is a pity now when there was none to begin with is a net positive, so no complaints from me. And with all that being said, I think that wraps up all of the good, so now let's move on to the bad. It wouldn't be an update review if we didn't mention the bugs that were pretty common on release. I wasn't there to test out every single one of them, but after asking around, I did hear that a lot of people had X problem with this unit or doing this thing or this and that. There was a good amount of bugs on release. it's as to be expected, right? This happens pretty often with anime Vanguards. I don't think anyone's really surprised about that fact. So I definitely did have to mention it in the bad, since I heard a lot of people complaining about that. Another thing that people talked about, which they said was bad, and I'll give my personal thoughts about that in a second, is the fact that this update was just a reskinned winter event. And that is absolutely true, but at the same time, I feel like there's not much that they could have done at that point to do something different. In my eyes, this update, or every single 0.5 update, they've made public statements about this, are supposed to be filler updates, so people have something to do while they're waiting for the big batches of content. I'm pretty content with the fact that this is just a reskinned winter event update, as people are trying to call it, solely due to the fact that the winter event was one of the most successful updates in the game. I would label it as one of the updates that really brought the game back. And they're doing this because they want to make sure they're trying to play it safe. You know, no more Guilty Gear and expanding the units and this and that, because we all know how that ended up last time. So, yes, people are unhappy with the fact that this update is pretty reminiscent of the winter event. Am I unhappy with it? I don't really care, I'm gonna be honest. But I do have to mention it in the bad because people don't like it. Something else that I want to throw on here, I don't know if this is just a personal nitpick, I did not really like the skin selection that we got for this update. That's just completely subjective, but a lot of characters that I don't think deserve skins got a skin. Like, why did Gilgamesh get a skin, bro? Gilgamesh isn't even obtainable anymore. And Yoruichi, doesn't she already have one? And Rem? Also, bro, people really wanted me to talk about this in the video. They added boobs to like a good chunk of the units, or like the new models for the skins. And it's definitely an interesting choice, right? I imagine that drives up the revenue at least a little bit. When people see those skins, they definitely buy them. Do I really care that much? Not really. It's a Roblox game. And it's not like it's like egregious, right? They're still fully closed. I think some people are overreacting. I will say it's a little bit funny that they like just started slapping boobs onto the models for their Roblox characters, because that's definitely not the original model of certain units that they're putting these skins on. Do I think it's bad? No. Do I think it's good? No. I really don't care. I'm pretty neutral on that. Like I said, I'm not going to buy the skin anyway. The only thing I'm probably going to buy is the bundle that has like 200 rerolls in the special mount. I definitely want that. But besides that, I don't really think I'm going to bother on skins too much, mainly because the skin selection that we got for this update was kind of mid in terms of like the paid bundle skins. Just not my cup of tea. I was really hoping some of the really good units would get a skin, but it is what it is. Nothing too major to complain about, but I will include it in the bad. I will say Ragna and Goku are two very good units, and they did get skins, so it's not like there was like only garbage units that got skins. But Orihime, Yoruichi, and Rem getting skins is sort of like pointless to me because not that many people use them to begin with. I guess Orihime has her support uses, and Rem is pretty decent, but still, you get what I'm trying to say, right? I hope you guys understand what I'm getting at when I say like, oh, I kind of wish there were other units that got their own special skin, especially some that just don't have any at all. But yeah, that's my take on the skin thing. Now we can move on. Finally made it to the conclusion for this update review. So overall, do I think it was a good update? Do I think it was a bad update? I'm going to give this a thumbs up. I'm going to give it the seal of approval. I think this was a good update, all things considered. We actually got a good batch of mainstream characters that people are excited for. And I know that some people are going to try and tell me that Guilty Gear is mainstream, and it is. It's extremely popular, but I don't think it's popular with the tower defense audience, which mainly consists of people who watch anime. I think Invincible is a pretty good choice, because a lot of the people that watch anime and enjoy shonen definitely overlap with the Invincible fan base. It is a pretty good show. Definitely recommend it. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't think Guilty Gear really struck a chord with most AV players, and the numbers definitely showed that. And in terms of numbers, this update's doing really well. We're sitting at a good 70k plus players, concurrent players, which is already more than triple what it was during the update 6. So that alone tells you that people are enjoying this update and they like this update a lot more. And I think the fact that it's the unit selection, which was pretty mainstream, I think that fact is pretty big as a contributing factor as to why the update is doing so well. If I had to rate this update 1 through 10, I would give it a solid 7. You know, it's not a perfect update. It's definitely not my favorite update in the game. For me, I think my favorite update will always be the Jujutsu Kaisen update, update 1. But again, that's just bias, you know, that's subjective. I still think it's a pretty good update, all things considered, and it did what it set out to do. It kept the game afloat while they were working on Update 7, and kept it afloat, it definitely did. I see people playing this for a good chunk of time, and they're definitely going to have things to grind for because the Portal event is super grindy, and it does have a lot of stuff to grind for. On top of that, like, the backlog that this game has right now in terms of content is pretty substantial, right? Even if you have nothing to do for the winter event, there's still so many familiars to get, world lines, PvP, this and that. I think the game's been out for long enough that it's reached a point where you really do have a lot of things to do, regardless of the fact if you didn't like this update or not. But I think most people did. I definitely did. And I think the unit selection was absolute top-notch, 10 out of 10. Except Rudius. I don't like Rudius. I just don't like his character in the anime. But in-game, he's pretty good unit, and he looks good. He's well made, so I'm just gonna pretend he only exists in anime Vanguards and call it a day. Besides that, is there anything else that I want to mention? Rimuru, I see a lot of people saying Rimuru sucks, and they're complaining that he's only this good for a secret unit. I think he's really, really good. He's pretty cost effective. His little passive where he nerfs, he lowers the price of upgrades as long as you keep upgrading him. Like, if you have all 4 placed down and you upgrade them one by one, that is extremely cost effective, and they do pretty good damage. You can get all 4 of them maxed out for like under 100k, and they're full AoE. So I think Rimuru is pretty good. People just need to learn how to use him a little bit more. I don't think he's a bad unit though, not at all. And yeah, that's really all that I have to say about this update. Good job, guys. Definitely a great update, and I think most people can agree with me on that. It's a step up from Update 6, I'll say that much. Also, something else that I wanted to touch on. A lot of people, like every single time there's an update, I see the same debate. And it's people that aren't happy with X or Y about the update. And then there's people saying that Anime Vanguards players complain about everything. And it's just a never-ending cycle, right? Update drops, people complain. People say that people complain about everything. Update drops, people complain. Like, it's just, we're going in a circle. I personally think that if you don't like the fact that this update is portals, and like there's nothing new and this and that, I really just think that you're getting tired of anime tower defense games in general. Like, I can say that with 100% degree of certainty because I felt the exact same way. And I started asking myself, damn, all these tower defense games, like, they're all the same, but like, you know, I'm going to keep playing. I'm just going to wait for like a good update to come out. I really just came to the conclusion that if you truly do not like the core content loop of an update, you might just be getting bored of the genre. That really might be me hitting the nail on the head with that one. I've been rambling on for too long though. I think I said everything I want to say, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. Stay tuned for more content. I do have a bigger video coming out very, very soon. It's literally completely edited. The only reason I held off on putting it out was to make this update review. So I'll probably put that other video out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for more content. Have a great day, night, wherever you are. We'll catch you in the next one.